welcome back to another episode of the Don't Argue with the Facts podcast. I am your host, Noah Love, and today, August 25th, it's Monday, which means you know what that means. It's game week. We are now 10 days away from the NFL season, but we are more importantly 5 days away from the college football season. That's Saturday where it kicks off, even though there's some games on Thursday and Friday. But we're not here to talk about that. We will get to those later in the week, some of those games. We are here to talk about college football week 0. Some takeaways, what I've seen, what I saw from certain teams yesterday, uh, Monday, Saturday, what I saw from certain teams, what I like, didn't like, the what I like. Obviously, the ranked matchup between Iowa State, Kansas State. We'll get into that, and we will get into UNLV because boy was that horrific. And we will also get into Stanford and Hawaii and how they play. But let's get started with Iowa State, Kansas State. The preseason Big 12 favorites. The Kansas Wildcats, number on 22 ranked Iowa State Cyclones of Dublin, Ireland, and they went down. Iowa State pulled off was a lot of people are saying is an upset. 22 set 22-17, 24-21. Look, Iowa State, the reason they won this game is because Rocco Beck just simply, I mean, they he was better at throwing the football. This I said this game would come down to the trenches, and it did late, but a lot of this came down to just Avery Johnson at times not being good enough throwing the football, not getting the ball out on time. Also, both teams had turnovers. It was a sloppily played game in the first half. It obviously it obviously picked up later on. Iowa State's ability to run the football late also was a deciding factor. You're going to look at these stats. uh, You're going to look at these stats and you're going to say, okay, well, Avery Johnson was better from an efficiency standpoint. He was 21 to 30 for 273 at 2 touchdowns. That's good, right? Yes and no. There were times where on fourth down, they got stopped because he did not get the ball out on time. Kansas State also had penalties. And also, they, on second down, and this is where the main issue comes in for Kansas State. When they would get into 2nd and 7, they just they could not get it to they could not get it to like down to 3rd and 4, 3rd and 3, 3rd and 2. Avery Johnson, if Kansas State wants to win the Big 12, which they're already behind the 8 ball, they're going to have to run the football. They're going to have to lead the Big 12 in rushing and rely on their defense because throwing the football is just something that it looks like they're going to seem to struggle with. But now, was there improvement from Avery Johnson? There was a little bit of improvement, but there wasn't enough improvement to where, okay, we're going to go empty and we're going to throw the football. That's not how that's going to work. Also, their star running back Dylan Edwards went out in the game and he didn't come back. I don't know what his status is. Look, both teams had 2 turnovers in the game. They, I, also Kansas State Avery Johnson's flat stats a little bit inflated because for some reason on the touchdown pass when it's 24-14, the safety just doesn't get over the top, and Avery Johnson he's gonna hit that pass. He's not that horrific of a passer. He's not that bad of a passer. He's gonna hit that. Um, obviously, but late in the game, they saved Carson Hansen for late in the game, and boy, did he show up. He was 16 carries for 71 yards, but I would love to see what he was in the fourth quarter because they just ran the ball time and time again, and you could see it. Kansas State just, I think they were worn down. Iowa State, 5 yards, 6 yards. Now, six again, seven, eight. Oh, now there's a 15-yard gain. Okay, 3 yard gain. Now, oh, it's another 7 yard gain. Late, late in the game, they were able to run the football very effectively. And that was huge. Now, I know Iowa State, they they're probably going to say, look, we didn't play great because they didn't. But this is one of the games where if you get out of there with a win, you're going on the bus home and or fly not bus, but bus to the hotel, and then you're flying back. You're thinking we won, but we got some stuff to clean up, and they will. Look, Rocco Beck threw two beautiful touchdown passes right into the bucket. The one especially to Overby late in the game, that was huge. That was huge. But both teams have stuff to clean up. Iowa State, first of all, before I move on, Matt Campbell deserves all our praise. Iowa State is not a team or is not a program, and you can, in really just the whole state of Iowa, you're not going to be able to recruit 5-star receivers, and you're not going to probably get like these incredible athletes. But you know what they get? They get linemen. They get the trenches. And that's why Coach Campbell's been able to win at Iowa State. They stick to their identity and they don't beat themselves and they have a culture. And that's how they're winning. And last year they went to the Big 12 title game. I'm looking at their schedule here in terms of the rest of the season. They have a good chance to go back to the Big 12 title game. Now, will they? I don't know. Look, I've said it. The Big 12 is wide open. We'll get to another team that played played better than both of these teams. Again, against a lesser opponent, but we'll get to them in a little while. But the Big 12 is wide open. Iowa State, that's a big win. Could go a long way. Is going to go a long way into deciding who goes to the Big 12 title game and potentially the CFP. Kansas State behind the A ball, they got to be better, especially with the turnovers. And they're just going to have to lead the Big 12 in rushing if they want any shot, I think, of winning a Big 12 championship. Okay, next here. Let's go to this. UNLV. UNLV 138-31. Dan Mullen's first game. Look, a lot of people are calling it. A lot of people I've seen calling it a disgrace. Uh, the, they won the game, but that was bad. It's one of those wins where it's like, yeah, we won, but that was bad. From an offensive perspective, okay, they did what we thought they were going to do. They used Alex Orgy. I mean, he threw the ball some and he ran it, but their strong quarterback was Anthony Colandrea. He played very well. He also ran it some. Do He's a dual threat. Look, they threw for one. He threw for 195 and then ran it for 93. Jaden Thomas 10 carries, 147 for 3 tutties. That's not really the big thing. They threw for five. They had 539 total yards. and they had 307 on the ground. You're facing the FCS team. That's that's kind of what we expected you to do. I'm just being honest. This is where it gets bad. Idaho State, if it wasn't for their quarterback throwing three picks and turning the ball over late in the game, they win this game. Now, granted, you gotta give UNLV some credit because yes, they did find a way to win, but bro, that was bad. Idaho State had 30 first downs to UNLV 25. Idaho State was better in third down efficiency. They were 5 for 13. UNLV was 3 for 12. Idaho State gained more total yards, 555. UNLV, you're supposed to be a college football playoff sleeper slash contender this year, and you gave up 555 yards to an FCS team who a lot of people hadn't heard of, if we're just being honest. That's an issue. They threw for Idaho State, outgained them in throwing in passing 395 to 232. They also ran for 160 yards. What killed Idaho State in the game was really the penalties and the turnovers. That's what killed them. The four turnovers. And they had 10 penalties for 80 yards. So Idaho State, they really shot themselves in the foot more than UNLV won this game. I mean, this was bad. If you're a UNLV fan, you should be happy you won the game, but also discouraged at the same time because of the way you played. Because if that's gonna be the way, I mean, you play a team UCLA in 2 weeks. If you look like that, you're gonna lose. If you look like that, you're going to lose. You got to play Boise in the Mountain West as well. Hawaii, who was able to get a win against Stanford. I mean, UNLV has to be better, Dan Mullen. They have to be better. We know this. They cannot be as bad as they were from really a defensive standpoint. I mean, Idaho State just they were doing whatever they wanted, and UNLV didn't have an answer. I mean, Idaho State. I was thinking, okay, they got up 10 early, but UNLV's gonna come back and stomp them. They came back, but they didn't stomp them. Look, pros of the game, they found a way to win. Negatives, pretty much everything else on the defensive side of the ball. Uh, yeah, the pros is the offense found a way to win. The cons is everything else. Everything else. But they won the game. They're 1-0. That at the end of week 0, that's your goal, and they were able to accomplish that. Another game I watched. Obviously, week 0 is kind of slim pickings here. Kansas beat Fresno State 31-7. Fresno State's a very good team. Is very good, decent team. Kansas last year went 5-7. They were disappointing, but they had some injuries. Could have been better. Jalen Daniels is back, and Kansas handle business. Jalen Daniels is a stud. He could flip the Big 12 on his head, on its head, just based off how well he can play. He was 18 for 21, 76, 3 touchdowns. The quarterback play in this conference, Big 12, is very, very, very underrated. And I don't think you'll see that really quickly. Uh he was great in this game. His ability, not only can he throw. Not only can he be on time and on target, and he's accurate, he also gives them an element in the run game where when you're running that read option, that end is because if he doesn't crash down, if the interior defensive line doesn't get um, push, doesn't get any push, then Kansas is probably going to run for 5, 6 yards a pop. But if that end doesn't, but if that end goes down, if there's nobody else out there, Jalen Daniels can house it or at least get big gains. And then we all know his ability to make plays off script. They're going to be tough. And they're going to be tough. Also, they got a new receiver in the portal, Cam Pickett from Ball State. Has 6 catches, 77 yards, 2 touchdowns. Really good at Ball State. Was Ball State's best player. That's an added weapon. And I said the Big 12 is wide open because Kansas, there's nobody there. Now, I think Utah is going to potentially win the Big 12 this year. I've kind of been on record saying or at least get to the Big 12 title game. I'm standing on that. But it shouldn't shock you. Whoever wins this conference, it should not shock you. Like even if Kansas State comes back and wins, it's like they were the preseason favorite. If Utah wins it, well, I should have seen it coming. They had a new quarterback. The quarterback played well, and Whittingham's a great coach. Heck, if Baylor or Colorado wins it, well, I mean, Coach Prime's a great coach, and Dave Miranda's kind of got this thing rolling now. I mean, if Texas Tech wins it, you're just going to attribute it to the NIL because they spend so much money, and they're going to be a real big time contender in this conference, I believe. So this conference, it's just wide open. It's wide open. Uh, Kansas has a good shot to win it just based off that guy, Jalen Daniels, and he's also a sleeper in terms of Big 12 Player of the Year. If he can stay healthy this year, Kansas is going to win some ball games. They're going to go to at least a bowl game, and maybe they don't make the Big 12 title game, but they're a 8-win team, and maybe they get one of these teams, one of these contenders. They kind of get them, cost them a chance to go to the Big 12 title game. Sort of what they did last year, where okay, BYU's undefeated, nobody expects them to beat them, and then they just go in because they're healthy. Like they just go in and beat them. And then Colorado, oh, we have to win 2 more games and we're in the Big 12 title game. They rushed for like 200 yards, and Kansas said, you ain't going. So, yeah, they could. That also could happen. And the Big 12, it's just going to be chaos, and I can't not wait to happen. This whole season is going to be chaos because there's so much parity. And lastly, we're going to talk about Hawaii and Stanford. This Look, on a regular college football week, you'd probably skip this game, but this was a good game. This kid Micah Alhado is a gamer. I'm just going to be honest. It is my first time watching him because I don't watch Hawaii like that. I like what I saw. Now, in terms of the explosive plays, it wasn't. It could have been better. It wasn't there, but he was kind of limping, nursing an injury, and he drove down and was able to get them into position to where they could kick a game-winning field goal. Also, also their kicker learned how to kick off of YouTube, which that's kind of hilarious because he was 3 for 3 in this game in terms of field goals. They were settling for a lot of them in this. Look, Stanford should have won the game. If you watched it, you knew Stanford should. Their quarterback is the reason they didn't lost. Ben Gulbranson just, I mean, it was hideous. He had 50% completion percentage. He averaged 3.6 yards per throw. It's hideous. He had one pick, and the one pick was so atrocious. Like it's 20-13, and he throws just 8 bad one. Grant, good play by the Hawaii defender, but you can't throw that. Also, it's 13.2 QBR, horrific. Stanford, they should just kept it on the ground, man. Look. Micah Ford was running through Hawaii late. In terms of the total game, he was 26 carries, 113 yards, and a touchdown. They almost ran for 200 yards. Stanford should have won this game. They had this game, but their inability for their quarterback to really throw the football effectively and efficiently cost them. This was a really good game to watch. And my guy Hato is a gamer. I like him. Maybe tuning into some more Hawaii games this season. We'll see. But some breaking news before I get out here. Terry McLaurin has signed a 3-year, $96 million extension 10 days away from the season, ending his hold in with the Commanders. Terry McLaurin, look, hey, he's reportedly agreed to a 3-year, $96 million contract with the Washington Commanders, ending a contract stalemate that resulted in the all-pro wide receiver requesting a trade. New deal was reported by ESPN's Adam Schefter. The news is cause for relief in Washington as the Commanders look to build on the breakout rookie campaign of quarterback Jaden Daniels. They went to the NFC Championship. McLaurin was Daniels' favorite target during the historic 2024 season, in which he was named Rookie of the Year, earned Pro Bowl honors, and finished 7th in MVP voting. Washington finished 12-5, advanced to the NFC Championship game after stunning the top-seeded Detroit Lions in the divisional round of the playoffs. McLaurin caught 13 of Daniels' 25 touchdown passes, was a frequent recipient of deep balls that became a signature of Daniels' rookie season. Now, the pair can continue to operate as one of the most effective pass and catch tandems in football. McLaurin, 29, has emerged as one of the NFL's most dependable and consistently productive receivers, earning Pro Bowl honors twice in the past 3 seasons and being named second-team All-Pro in 2024. He's played in all 17 regular season games in each of the past 4 seasons. Terry McLaurin in the 24-25 season, 2 receptions, 1,000 yards. He almost had 1,096 yards, 13 touchdowns in the season. So obviously great. They paid him a lot of more money. He's now at age 30. So look, this was big for Washington just to get his contract on the books, and it's huge for Jaden Daniels. Now, look, he's been holding in. Now, obviously, there will be no more controversy and uncertain surrounding Washington. Week 1 against the Giants, who the Giants are going to be better than expected this year, I think. Now, looking at them more a little bit in preseason, I think they'll be good to go. Washington, hopefully they can build on what they did last year. I think there'll be an 11-win team. I have them making the playoffs, but not winning the division. I still think Philadelphia is better at this moment in time in terms of their roster. But that's great for Washington. It's big time news. Now there are 2 holdouts going on. Of course, it's the Bengals and the Cowboys because they're stupid, obviously. Okay, that has been the episode of the Don't Argue with the Facts podcast. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, and peace.